My name is Emelie Hilner, and I work as a science communicator at Max 4 laboratory in Lund, the Swedish synchrotron. I usually describe Max 4 as a big light bulb. So we produce light, we produce really high quality light for research. So it's intense, well-controlled X-rays that you really can't get by any other technique. And to do this, we need to have this huge lab because we get the X-rays from electrons that travel at the speed of light. So therefore, we need to have the big accelerators. Also, I guess just a synchrotron usually has more than one experiment station where you can use the light. So you can travel to the synchrotron, and once you have proposal was accepted, you can then travel to the synchrotron and do your research as one of our experiment stations, where we then can provide light for you that works for your particular experiment. So the really high quality light bulb, electricity in and really great intense light out. So I have a PhD in physics, but then during my postdoc, I started to think about my career, and I realized that I would rather work with promoting other people's science than working with my own, and I thought I wanted to pursue that goal instead. And I was lucky because there was an open position at the Faculty of Science office at Lund University. So I applied, and I got the position, and it was kind of an entry-level position. So I worked there for 3 years, learning everything about communication in general and science communication, writing a press release, things like that. And then after that, a position opened up at Max 4. So I applied for that, and here I am. And that was in 2015 late. So I've been here for about 10 years now. One thing that I think is similar and that I've had a lot of help with from my scientific background is to be able to take in large amounts of information and make sense of that. And also another thing that is similar is I read a lot of scientific papers. So there's also where I've had an advantage of knowing how to read a paper and where to find different things in a paper. And then there is, of course, a lot of difference. I'm an experimental scientist, so I used to work in a lab. Now I work in an office. And before I produced science, now I more translate or interpret science so that I can communicate it to different target groups and make them understand different scientific results or the scientific method or things like that. So that's the big difference. Of course, it's quite different jobs. I think everybody should give themselves the opportunity to try because it's a lot of fun. It's a very rewarding thing to do. But then I also think if you really think that this is not something that you want to do, then maybe you should wait until you feel maybe more inspired or so, because you shouldn't push yourself if there's absolutely nothing that you want to do. But I also wanted to um, just also say that maybe you want to work together with the science communicator, like me, for example. So if you say that you have done your research at Max 4, then you could, for example, contact the communications team and ask about different opportunities, how we could promote the science and so on, because we love to work together with scientists. So yeah, everybody should try, I think, but I don't think that everybody necessarily needs to be involved if they really don't want to. So first of all, I'd like to say that I think all science can be communicated, and usually what we talk a lot about here is that the key to that is context. So that if we have a good context where we can explain how the puzzle piece fits into the bigger issue or challenge that we're trying to solve, then that um, makes for a better communication. Um, but I think usually, I mean, this it can be ready already at the experiment phase. We do a lot of those, like user stories, we call them. When I talk about puzzle pieces of science, I usually think that every scientific paper or result is usually quite a small part. Sometimes it's bigger, but usually it's a small part of a problem. And we sort of work step by step towards a solution or a better knowledge of an area, for example. And then I usually think about it as a big puzzle where every result fits in, and then like the finished puzzle is sort of the context that we exist in with this little result that is yeah, filling up a specific part of this area also. So that's how I think about that. And also one thing I really just wanted to point out here that is important for us is to contact your communications people early, because if you want to make a press release, for example, something like that, the earlier the better. So usually if you think you have something good, if you are in the manuscript phase, contact us because we're happy to be contacted early. If I'm thinking to who to communicate to, I would say that's something we think about a lot here. And for us, it's usually we get some sort of goal that we want to fulfill. So we use the communication as a tool, and then we make an analysis of how to reach our goal. And then part of that analysis is then the target group. So usually that's how we find who to communicate to also. Yeah, so when I'm thinking about this sea of information, the first thing that comes to mind for me is we talk a lot about in science communication now to how important it is to do the analysis first. So really think about what it is what your goal is with your communication, and how you can sort of measure your communication to know that you were successful. So it can be, for example, analyze your different options of medium, if it's a specific social media channel or so, to see where are those people that you want to talk to. So I think science communication is a lot moving away from just putting all the information in all channels and instead going towards a more specific analysis and evaluation then of the channels. So it could be, for example, say we want to communicate about a open position that would fit well in LinkedIn, for example. Other things could be information screen on our tram, for example, if we want to talk about an event that we want the general public to attend. So also, I mean, if you want to communicate like your result or your paper, think about, is it to other scientists? Is it to general public? Which part of the general public? Is it kids? Is it grown-ups? And so on. And try to think where you can find those people, I would say. And then evaluate afterwards to see if you reached your goal or if you need to change something. We do a lot of activities to where we talk to the general public about the science, the scientific process. And I think that's important because we run out of taxpayers' money. And then I think it's our duty to also both give back in education for younger people, for example, and also just explain what it is that we are doing and why it's important, so the people, so we can be transparent and actually explain to people in a good way what it is we use their money for. So I think that's something that we need to do and that we should do. And so when I think about it, I sort of get angry because I really think that everybody should have the access to scientific facts that you can easily understand and use to make decisions. And in this sort of algorithm landscape that we have, that might not be the case for everyone, and it makes me, yeah, angry and sad. And I think for what we can do as researchers is, I think, just to be as inclusive as possible and just really stick to the message that science is for everyone, and is to demystify science and also, yeah, to really make it possible to understand and be useful for the people that want to make decisions about their lives or and so on. If something that you're interested in, you should just try to get involved. I think either with your university, because I'm sure that there are many activities probably that where they're looking for volunteers. We for sure do all the time, and where you can get some training also. But if you want to do something on your own, I would say just start something, a YouTube channel, maybe a podcast, do illustration, animation, anything. And also just what I'd like to say is that it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start, and maybe you'll do some mistakes in the beginning, but then you learn. So um, don't wait for it to be 100% right, but just go ahead. So that is what I would say. I've done it myself, and I've done all all the mistakes and learned from them. So. I mean, there are a lot of best practices. So we usually do for when you communicate with the media, for example, like don't guess, say when you don't know, and yeah, things like that. To always be, of course, I mean, we should always be truthful and not over exaggerate the results. And especially, I think it's important in when we're talking about different things in the medical field, for example, so that we're not worrying people unnecessarily or so on, to try to really put it in a nice context. That's maybe also when you should maybe try to find a collaborator that's a bit more experienced science communicator, so who can give you some advice on that. Try to stay away from very sort of niche words that are that typically people wouldn't know if they're not in the field. Yes, so I would like to talk about something that is not really my own work, but I would like to promote our team, the Max 4 Communications team, and talk about the Max 4 Open Day. So every summer, late summer, we open the lab to everyone, from 0 years old to as old as I think there have been people over 90 years old here too. And I love it because um, I think it's really a good way of, as I said before, also demystifying science. They can talk to scientists, they can try scientific equipment, and they can see that science is just, it's a job also, like every other job. It's nothing that is, yeah, very mysterious. And I love to see when people come here and they talk to my colleagues, how um, how happy people get when they realize that I can understand this too, and this is it's for me, it's for me too. And also when people come here with their kids and get to show them, yeah, this is a career that you could do, and this is also something that you could choose. So, and I love that it's so open that we can then have the possibility of really opening up our lab and show people. So that's something that is really my favorite. But that's I would say that that is an effort of our whole team. I would really like to promote our news because we write new science news every month. So if you want to know what goes on at Max 4, so read those. It's both general part, and then there is also, we try to include some technical parts if for people who would actually want to come here and do something similar, for example, so that you can also, there is sometimes a bit of a fact, a box with some experimental facts and things. So if you're inspired. Um, Otherwise, we are in the usual social channels as well, so you can find us there. Yeah, science communication is really a lot of fun. So I think if anybody who listens to this have any interest of getting involved, really you should. So you're so welcome.